Doing good. How are you guys doing?
All right. Tight end Riley Nowakowski. We'll start on your right with Zach B. and then go to Colin.
Riley, I guess looking back to last year, Indiana had Zach Horton. Have they kind of shown you any film of Zach Horton as what they expect from you from a pass blocking and a run blocking standpoint?
Yeah, definitely. That was a big part of my recruitment process, was watching a lot of his film. Obviously, we have a similar build and kind of similar play style, so that was a big draw. He's like Coach Kane kind of told me, like, you fit this role really well. So yeah, it was definitely a big draw for me.
We'll stay right with Colin, then go to Jared.
Tight end is obviously a hybrid of a blocker and receiver. Kind of, how do you see your game and fitting in with this offense?
I think obviously I used to play fullback back at Wisconsin, so I got kind of a little bit of that hard nose, like downhill mentality. I like a lot of gap scheme, a lot of power, all that kind of stuff. But then I feel like I have enough athleticism and enough wiggle to get open in the pass game and be a threat. People don't know, but I got a little bit of speed, so I feel like I'm a little bit of a deep threat.
All right, we'll stay on the right. Second row to Jared, and we'll go to Mike.
How much of Indiana did you pay attention to last year, and obviously their rise under Coach Signetti?
Obviously being part of the Big Ten last year, I was watching them all year long. We played them the year prior in 2023, lost to them. But so they were kind of like on my mind, and then also seeing them the next year with the turnaround and everything. That was a big draw when I was looking to come here, was what Sig did with this team in only 1 year. Obviously, having played them the year before and kind of like knowing what they were like then, and then like seeing 2024, it was a big difference, I thought. So I really liked it.
We'll go to your left to Mike, and then Zach.
Yeah, you were a former walk-on at Wisconsin. When did you get put on scholarship? Maybe in spring 2023, and what was that moment like? Was it a surprise? Did you know it was coming? Kind of take us through that process of earning a scholarship there.
Yeah, so it was a spring going into my senior year, and we just had a new coach, and so I just moved to tight end, and it called me up into my coach's office and didn't tell me anything. They just said, hey, like, coach needs to talk to you. So, I was kind of nervous, you know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, like, am I going to be on the team tomorrow? You know what I mean? And so when I got there, like, he just like slid me a paper, which was almost even worse. I was like getting ready to like call my parents and everything. And but then I looked at it, and it was a scholarship, and I was super excited. So then I called my parents with the good news instead of the bad. So yeah, it was really sweet, really sweet.
We'll stay left to Zach, and then go to Seth.
You talked about the receiving threat you think you have, but I think we also saw you at a dinner recently with the quarterbacks and the offensive linemen. What's your relationship like with that line? You got a lot of veterans, kind of to work with there, and also with your quarterback in terms of maybe recognizing certain things pre-snap and just being, sort of multifaceted in the way you impact blocking.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I feel like tight end's an extension of the O-line. So I really take a lot of pride in my relationship with my tackles, right, because we're working with them all the time. So I like to make sure that I have a good relationship with, the ones, the twos, even the threes, like just that when we're out there and we're communicating, like I know I can trust them and they can trust me. You know what I mean? Like if one of us gets a call wrong, we can correct each other and just like know who we're playing with and kind of like feel that connection, right? And then same with Nando, like I like after like a pass play or something, I drop a pass or like it's a throw that kind of misses. I'm gonna go up and talk to him and be like, hey Nando, what did you see? You know what I mean? Because I want to know like what he's thinking, and I want him to know what I'm thinking, so that we're on the same page all the time. Because obviously, I can't, when I'm running a route, I can't communicate with Nando. He's got to know what I'm thinking. I got to know what he's thinking.
Stay left to Seth, and then go to Daniel.
Yeah, within that time you spent around the O-line since you got in here, just what was it like for you seeing Drew Evans recover from his injury the way he did and go through that whole rehab process, and just, how challenging is that, I guess, to, see a teammate like that go through that?
Definitely. So Drew was actually at Wisconsin with me for a year prior to my time here and prior to his time here. And so I really liked him as a kid. He was a walk-on at Wisconsin and just a real gritty kid. Kind of had a rough time at Wisconsin. Just was a little bit injury prone there too. So when I heard last year that he had got injured, I was really sad for him. Because he had been doing so well. But he's the type of guy to just put his head down and just get through anything. It's just kind of the guy he is. Like he's always gonna come in with a smile and he's always gonna work hard. So it's been great seeing him out there now. Like I'm always talking to him and everything, just because we were former teammates, now we're back teammates again. So I love seeing him succeed.
We'll go Daniel and then Pete.
As a blocker, you said you had this, hard mentality. When you're, approaching that contact point, what runs through the mind, the brain? Like, what are you trying to accomplish as you just approach them and hit them?
Obviously, there's a technical aspect of it, but that's more pre-snap. Just trying to my footwork, my hand placement, all that stuff. But after the ball snap, it's just hit that guy harder than he hits me, and just run through him until can't run through him anymore. You know what I mean?
We'll stand up second row to Pete and then go to Joe.
Hey, Riley, I'm kind of curious. You've played multiple positions, I think maybe at one point linebacker, fullback, tight end. You played multiple sports in high school, basketball, track. How much does all that has helped develop you? And would you recommend that other people, if they have the ability to do similarly, multi-sport, multi-position approach?
Yeah, I mean, multi-sport for sure. Obviously, like just the different movements that you incur in each sport, from basketball to football, and then like track or whatever it is, even baseball, hand coordination. Like it really, once you get to a certain level of athletics, like you need all the mobility, all the exposure to change the direction to different movement patterns that you can get, because that's gonna be helpful if you can move better than somebody else, right? That's what brings you to the next level. Like if you can move better than some other guy, they're gonna pick you. So I think that's been a great asset. And then obviously same thing with playing a lot of positions. Like it's taught me a lot about the different ways that people approach things, the different ways that I can approach things, right? So I can just kind of see, like, hey, when do I need to really go downhill hard? You know what I mean? Like, when do I need to use a little bit more finesse? Like, oh, what's the linebacker thinking here? Like, he's taking this drop. Like, where's the open zone gonna be? So I think like playing as many positions as you can. I mean, obviously, like, got to kind of be focused in on what you want to do, but being like open to like changing positions or like filling a need somewhere, I think that's a great thing. Taking scout really seriously, and because they move around a lot during scout, so taking advantage of every position you play during scout, I think is really big, just because it teaches you so much about the whole sport of football, and it really helps you understand the greater concept that we're trying to work.
Stand second row up to Joe and then go to Matt.
You've dealt with coaching changes before at your time at Wisconsin. I mean, with that kind of experience, learning new systems, what stood out about making that change to Indiana with Cignetti and the staff?
Yeah, I think it made that transition easier for me, just because I had just done it 2 years prior. So that definitely made it a little bit easier, but I think the staff did a great job of, just getting me into the playbook right away and like pushing that on us, and they were really helpful. I mean, when I first got here in winter, me and Grant Wilson and Nando, we go up to the offices with the GAs every day and just go through install 1, and then we'd go through that for 2 days, and we'd go through install 2, whatever. And so like the GAs and the coaches would always be stopping in, like helping and talking to us and just like helping us work through it. Like as much as we wanted to put in, the coach were going to match that and put in the same effort.
We'll go third row on your right to Matt and then Jeff.
You mentioned that you noticed what Indiana did last year before you got here, Trey Weddick, and you mentioned Drew, that you were with at Wisconsin were here. Did you reach out to them at all? Did you talk to them? And if so, what was the feedback they gave you about their year under the new staff?
Yeah, talking to Trey was big. So I came on my visit here, and I was able to talk to him a little bit. Obviously, they were game planning for Notre Dame, so it was kind of brief. But then after the Notre Dame game, I ended up talking to Trey a little bit longer about just what his time was like here and just kind of feeling out the program, right? Because it's tough to get a full feel for what a whole year at a program is going to be like in, just a matter of days or a matter of weeks that the transfer portal is open for. So that was a really big part was asking Trey like kind of what the day-to-day life was like what the coaching style of a lot of the coaches were, kind of what their mentality was about things, and because that's really what I was looking for a fit for me. So I would say Trey was a really big part of that, just kind of being open and honest about how they run stuff here, and I really liked it.
We'll go second row on your right to Jeff, and we'll wrap up with Sandy.
So 2 questions for me. First of all, take me through the process and the conversations associated with start a linebacker, then fullback, then tight end. How did it work, and sort of why the position changes?
So I started at outside linebacker. I was a walk-on, and I had 3 other kids in my class. One of them's in the NFL now. His name's Nick Herbig, so he's a really good pass rusher. So wasn't going to play above him, obviously. He's just clearly leaps and bounds better than me. And then the other 2 were bigger than me and just more built for the position for me. I was a little bit undersized for the position. And so I just do a lot of like indie work. I'd always be the offensive show guy, like stuff like that. So I do a really good job being an offensive show guy because I was just trying to give my all the time. And then after a year and a half, we ended up having one of our fullbacks transfer. And so my coach recommended me because of the good job I've been doing in Indy to go play fullback. So I ended up playing fullback for then the next year and a half, and then Coach Chris got fired, and our new scheme was under Longo was an air raid, so we didn't have a fullback anymore. So they were like, hey, like you can go play running back or you can play tight end. Like, right, that's the two boats you kind of fit into. At the time, we had Braylon Allen at running back, and he's a better running back than I'll ever be. You know, I'm willing to admit that. And then we had a few other guys behind him too, Ches, and just a bunch of guys that were way better running backs than I would have ever been. So I was just like, you know, I'm behind the curve. I'm pretty good at blocking anyways. Like, let me just go to tight end. And then just kind of went from there, just worked my butt off and earned that scholarship, and then just kind of never looked back.
So the second one for me is this. The word is you really like blocking. I'm curious, is that true? If so, why? And why do you feel you're as good at it as you are?
Yeah, definitely. I think my love for blocking initially came from playing fullback. So when it was linebacker, it was a lot of thinking, a lot of processing. We had a very complicated defense with Coach Leonard as our DC. So I was it was just I was always trying to figure something out. Then when they moved me to fullback, it was just hey, run at the end man on the line and just kick him out. You know what I mean? So it was just it's what football's all about. You know what I mean? Just run as fast as you can at somebody and kick them out. And in the Big Ten, there's a lot less finesse players. You know what I mean? A lot of guys are just just going to sit there and try and set the edge. So it's just kind of me versus him. Who's going to be tougher? Who's going to hit harder? And that's really kind of where I got that love for it. Was just hey, it's mano y mano. Let's just get to it. So I think that played a really big role in my love for it. And then once I got moved to tight end, it was a little bit different style, but I still like that, that kind of mindset of hey, I'm trying to dominate the man in front of me. You know what I mean? Now I got to use my hands a little bit more and kind of get better at that. But it's that same mentality of hey, it's me versus man across from me, and I'm trying to dominate him, drive him back as far as I can.
Last one, second row on your right to Sandy.
Riley, has anything surprised you about coming to Indiana that you maybe didn't see coming or you didn't know about the school?
I like Sig a lot. I like Sig. I think I wasn't sure about him. Just seeing everything in the media. You know what I mean? It's a little different than he's an interesting character. So that was definitely something I was just I don't know what he's gonna be like. In person and around the team and everything. But I really like him a lot. I like his mentality. I think a big thing for me is he really takes care of the players. Obviously, I've been in college for 18, 19 years or something. So, his body's hurting a little bit. But, I would say this is the best I've felt since I was probably a sophomore or junior. So, that's a really big thing for me is, between him and DO, Coach Owings, they really take care of you and make sure that your body's, as close to 100% at all times. And you're also building strength, building muscle, getting faster, getting quicker. But, you're doing all that while still feeling fresh and feeling good.
Great. Thanks, Riley. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, guys.